call the meeting to order. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome everyone, and apologize for our civic redecorating and access to City Hall this evening, but it's a long-term improvement, and things will get better as the work moves further south on Locust Street. Let Linda call the roll here.
Mark Hammer.
Here.
Stacy Langdon. Here. Veronica Pedro. She's not here. Russell Harvey.
Here.
Cody Eckert.
Here.
Dave Murray.
Here.
And Daryl Thomas.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is public petitions and comments. Do we have anything other than what's already on the agenda?
No, we do have one.
Oh, okay.
For DePaul University.
DePaul, if you could come forward with whatever you'd like to bring to our attention this evening.
She has street closures. For some reason, I didn't get the...
I didn't see anything either.
The
Anyways.
whole DePaul.
So street closures for our football games this fall. So our
wow.
annual request. I am on vacation for your next two city council meetings, so that's why I'm here this month.
Okay.
We've just standardized the times 8 to 4 on the 5 Saturdays that we host football games. It's a stretch of a few games in a few weekends. So it's September 9, 16, 23 all in a row, and then October 7th and October 28th.
9, 16, 23.
Could you go over the dates?
Yeah,
please?
September 9, 16, 23, and then October 7th and 28th.
Okay.
Which one's Old Gold? The 7th of October?
The 7th, yes.
Did you say 8 to 4?
Yeah, so the road closure is 8 to 4. It's just to adjust for potential pedestrians.
That's the usual.
Yep, Hannah from Indiana to Jackson, so the CDI block. And then Madison along the cemetery where we park our buses from Hannah to Hill.
Anybody have any questions?
These are all going to be wins, correct? No losses?
That is definitely the plan, yeah. The biggest one, obviously, the last weekend of the year, but
Yeah.
that one seemed to
That
be
was
okay
on it
this
now.
year. Yeah.
Wabash is here.
No, it's on the road.
Oh, it's on the road?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we need a break every other year.
I'll make a motion, we close the streets on the 9th, 16th, and 23rd of February, and the 7th and 28th of October for football games.
Second.
You said February, Stacy. I think you meant September.
Did I say February? Okay, September, October.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're good to go. We'll find
Thank
the
you.
paperwork.
Yeah,
Apparently it's in,
I'll re-forward it to you, yeah. Thank you.
It's in the ether somewhere. Okay, next is
I
for,
think we got another one.
come on forward. Okay.
So I have a request for a street closure for a 5K for the FOP. The event is scheduled for August 12th tentatively. And then the route that was suggested would start at Deer Meadow. And then so the street closures would be Shadow Lawn at the People's Pathway. So just Shadow Lawn right there, and then Albin Pond at the People's Pathway by Houck Road, and then Linwood at Shadow Lawn. The race is tentatively scheduled to start at 9 a.m., so closures would not need to start until about 9 a.m. I don't think anybody will be excited and jump start. And then it is not a run, so we are kind of tentatively looking at 9 to 12
Okay.
to give everybody full chance to do it.
I think the only caution, are you going to use part of People Pathways along Alvin Pond?
Yes.
The only caution we might have is, we're putting a water line in there, so you might want to check a few days ahead of time to see if there's any obstacles that might.
That's
might not work.
really hoping they move fast.
They're doing pretty well, but
I know. That's what it's. Yeah, it's right by my house. So I'm like every day. I'm like,
Yeah.
A little faster, God, no.
Moving out.
I know, but yep, and
Cookies
then,
might help.
oh, yes, cupcakes are more my thing, yes. So the plan, yep, will go all the way around TZ and everything. It is a color run, so it is colored powdered cornstarch, basically, not to give away our secrets. But it is biodegradable, washable, does not stain. You have to treat it for it to stay.
Where's the start point?
Deer Meadow.
Okay.
So Deer Meadow will be the primary parking place, and then we would start and finish there. I have talked to Greencastle Schools, and they had gave us full permission to use their parking lots, their walkways. We agreed not to do a color station on the pathway around TZ to try and preserve the nature area, just in case. And I don't want to take water to rinse off back there.
So would you just be using the crosswalks areas? I mean,
Yep.
that basically they're
Yep,
Hout
but-
Road, the one that kind of
That kind of like diagonals. Yep.
go to the school.
Yep, and then the school crossing at Linwood and Shadow Lawn. So basically, the public crossways for the people's pathways.
So I understand, you know, we may not have any extreme sprinters or anything like that, but if you're starting at 9 and closing the streets at 9, you feel like that's enough time to make sure everybody's safe?
Yep, so the idea is to start at 9, but generally 9 is when I plan to do announcements, talk about why we're doing it. So we probably won't really start till like 9:10, 9:15, because then we talk about like what the money's going to for a benefit for the FOP and all the events we do, the Christmas events, Shop with the Cop, Santa Drop. So I'm going to give them a little bit of that, and then I will explain the race route. And then the Sheriff's Department, we're going to use their little gator to try and find lost people if anybody gets lost. I hope not. Yeah.
So are you actually closing the streets, or are you going to have somebody there to help people across? You're not closing
My
those
goal
for
is to
3 hours,
not
right?
close them.
Right.
It'll just to be have a squad car. I think like for a lot of the 5Ks, they have the squad car, and we just have somebody like get out and halt
Right.
people. So temporary
Yeah,
closures.
like a rolling.
What we've done in the past with other runs is either, like at the major routes, like the state highways, sometimes our police officers will participate. But otherwise, on the side
Volunteers.
streets, we've used volunteers with the safety vests on.
I've seen you.
And then if you got a few stragglers, you know, traffic can pass and the stragglers can catch up. So,
That is the plan.
okay, sounds good. Entertain a motion?
I'll move to close the streets as laid out there on whatever date that was, August 12th.
Yep, I did bring a flyer and the race route.
Tentatively, what would cause it to change?
You guys say no. So I was really banking on a yes.
Back in our face.
No pressure or anything.
No pressure. I mean, staring.
I'm thinking it just.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. If you could leave a copy with us.
Absolutely.
So that Linda has something to add to the minutes, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have for the farmer's market, and yeah, I may be filling in for Madison because as part of our effort with the farmer's market, we provide the street closures and they manage it for us. Basically, Madison would like to extend the street closure on Franklin Street down towards Vine, and then also extend the time on a couple of Saturdays because they're doing some work with the Green Lights Arts Festival. So she's really done a great job of finding vendors for the farmers market and stuff, and it's been a great success story so far this spring. So if
So how far down? Not all the way to block the
yeah, we've
drive-through?
talked, yeah, not to block the drive up, yeah.
Bill, the August 26th date, Greenlight Arts Festival, that's the day of the Greencastle Music Fest. All that space down there will be blocked off. So I don't know how they can pull that off in that location.
I will touch base with her on that.
In the past, we've always just told them to work it out with, to Gail to work it out with the farmer's market.
Normally like Farmers Market, they have moved further south on Indiana Street, but
It's just
I will
our
check on this comprehensive services, the green light thing.
Thank you.
The green light event is in September, so
She's got August 26th in her letter.
And September 2nd, both. That'd be Labor Day weekend.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So she's got both weekends. She's got something going on both weekends so
Right.
where she wants to extend it to 2 p.m.
I think the green light is
I
September.
wonder what August 26th is then.
The August Pride in August, right? I think it's going to be in August instead of June.
Well, I'll double check with her on that, and we'll see what the alternates are for that, because Music Fest obviously was here earlier this year.
Right.
First come, kind of first serve, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve it pending the mayor's discussion.
I'll second.
There's some,
And I think we should just delegate the authority to the mayor to make that decision.
Yeah.
some house cleaning over on the streets. It should be Franklin, Jackson to Indiana, and then Franklin, Vine to Indiana.
I think that was actually my error
Okay.
back when we did the original approval.
Yeah, so, it was that way and didn't catch it the first time go around?
Yeah.
Okay.
She just sent a copy of what
Okay.
was the original one. So, who was the second, I'm sorry?
Darrell?
Darrell. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
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 Any negatives or abstentions? Then on the agenda was another one for a neighborhood July 4th celebration, and that request has been withdrawn. Next up, we have department reports. Several of our department heads are here this evening. Greg, you wanted to come up and share a couple pieces of information?
Good evening, everyone. I'll start with the Aquatic Center, and I'll divide this into a couple of categories. Concessions, and this is from opening day, May 29th, till 2 days ago, June 6th. We spent $3,237 on concession supplies, and we earned $6,946.75.
Wow.
You still have some inventory.
And we do, yes.
Keep it up, Greg, keep it up.
That's,
I take no credit for this.
that's great.
On those same dates, 2,131 people came through the door, and that earned us $10,655. We have sold 39 10 punch passes. We have sold 102 family passes, and we have sold 232 individual passes
Fill up the pool.
for a total of $45,760.
Wow.
That's
We got to clap for
incredible.
that.
You know, when, you know, I tell people this, when you provide a good working environment with your staff and you have good leadership, people want to be a part of that. And we are really thrilled with what's happened out there in less than 2 weeks. And Mother Nature, while we do need the rain, certainly has cooperated. So we're excited about that. A couple other things. We have 12 softball teams, adult softball teams, that began competition Tuesday night. And by the way, Park Fest sounded great from the softball diamond on Tuesday, so
It was
we had a
very
great
good,
crowd.
very
Yeah. The board has selected a contractor to demolish the park house. And something that's really important for those of us getting ready for July 4th, Celebrate 4 will remain in Roban Park. Obviously, Bloomington Street is all torn up, and it will continue to be that way. Initially, they had said they would be done with the curbs and the sidewalks by June 15th. That is no longer the case. But I met with Police Chief Ed Wilson yesterday, and he has assured me that the safety crews, police department, is comfortable with us having the event in Roban Park. So that's really good news. Last thing is we are changing our way we collect garbage in our parks. And it's hard to get excited about garbage, but I'm really excited about this. The mayor and I met with Kenny DePass over Public Services last week, and we will be transitioning to the big, large blue toters that you see that people use in their front yards and everything. And we will be placing those in strategic positions throughout the park system. And currently, we're working on how many we need. He said it doesn't matter how many we need. He has them in stock. They're brand new, and they will be labeled with Republic Services on one side, Greencastle Parks and Recreation on the other, so they won't end up, hopefully not end up in somebody's garage or something like that. And that's going to start hopefully before July 4th. We're really excited about that. And Kenny was extremely cooperative, and we'll have a pickup day late in the week and a pickup day probably on Monday after the weekend, and then we can adjust that and suspend operations whenever we need to once we get into the winter months. So really excited about that.
Greg, what's the latest on the lights out at Big Walnut?
I think we're still waiting for,
Trying to get a call back from an engineering firm because it's a large enough project, we're going to have to put it out for bids.
yeah.
Because it'll be probably $150,000 or better between the wiring and foundations and the poles and things, so.
Yeah.
Is that something that Align Civil Engineering is
I
capable
don't
of
have
handling?
anybody on their staff that does electrical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
So
going to happen, though. I'm anxious for that to,
we've received a couple of names of firms that do that kind of work, and I've made several calls and haven't gotten a call back yet, so.
And then the next step after that would be to put security cameras on those poles?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
How's the security system working in Roban?
Very well.
Good.
I was in Wisconsin last week, and I checked in on things from up there, made a couple of phone calls when I saw a couple of things. And I typically, if I see a police officer driving through the park, I'm always curious as to why they're there, so I'll reach out to somebody at the pool. And usually it's Krista, just to kind of check to make sure that everything's okay. So, yeah, it's been very, very positive, and I think it's, while we haven't eliminated issues and vandalism, it's been reduced significantly since we've installed them. So,
And we're going to soon have a new doggy fountain.
we are going to have the Taj,
At the water park?
We're gonna
Or
have
at the sports park?
the Taj Mahal of dog fountains is going to be in Big Walnut over there by the Bark Park.
Leading the way.
And it's a two-sided fountain for dogs, a single-sided for humans. It will be installed Monday or Tuesday. And Councilman Harvey has graciously offered to split the cost on the unit. So we're really, it's in our shop, and it'll be up and running next week. And just at the right time. This is when we need it.
Were there already a couple fountains out there?
There was one. There was a fountain, dog fountain there, and we tried to fix it, and we couldn't. And then there's another fountain at the other shelter out there. Both shelters that I'm referring to are on the south side, and that one's been repaired, and it's fully operational now. So we're finally getting them back up and running.
We've also had some informal conversations with the county, because in the past park plan, and probably it'll show up in the current park plan that's underway, the idea of putting a small neighborhood park at the Jones School site. So we've kind of let the county commissioners know that we have that remaining interest as they think about how they're going to put that site together. And I think they're having some discussions with a consultant to help them figure out what to do, because there's also some interest by some surrounding property owners and some parking development there as well for neighboring businesses. So, we haven't had any opposition from the county yet on that, but so we'll see what happens, because that is one neighborhood in the community that could benefit from a neighborhood park.
Yeah, that's a high priority on my list. So, okay, yes.
A number of years ago, I was at the pool with my granddaughter, hot day, big pool attendance, and a little one had an accident in the pool. And we had to close the pool and tell everybody to leave. I was at opening day this year, and saw 2 or 3 little ones that I was pretty sure weren't well protected. Is that a call of the lifeguard, or what do we do in that kind of situation if there's an accident?
Well, if it's seen,
Lifeguards can they blow their whistle and point their finger?
but I think they'd have to see something interesting going on. But they have the authority to at least make some sort of decision or find a person to make that decision. And this is what's really incredible about the staff. They have a way of communicating without actually talking. When they're at different locations of the pool, they blow a couple of whistles and boom, one of our managers is on site.
Any kind of a sign that says, "Thou shalt not wear a diaper"?
While I can't tell you exactly if there is, I believe that information is posted somewhere.
I'm almost positive. It used to be. I haven't been there
It's not
this year.
something I look at anymore.
I haven't been there this year, but
It would have to be somewhere. I'm sure the state or the health department would require.
I didn't look on the way out, so I don't know.
I don't know if we've got them this year, but in past years, we do sell swim diapers too.
Okay,
We have sold some.
Yeah.
okay.
Is there a sign that says Daryl can't bring a grandchild to the pool anymore?
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for any of our other department heads?
Is Scott here tonight?
No, he is leaving for going out of town, so he asked if he could have the evening off. Do you have a question or something?
I just had a couple of questions about 2 specific items in his report. I don't know if you're familiar, but he talked about monitoring the RV situation, violations. Was there any more information on that particularly?
I do not have any more information on that other than what he put in his report. Okay. Any other questions for any of our other department heads? Okay, everybody's free to go. I'll make my report rather brief. Again, apologize for our civic redecorating, but they're making good progress out here, despite finding some surprises underground. We did receive some good news. We will receive a supplemental income tax distribution. So there'll be some certified shares, about $249,000 there, a little over $100,000 in public safety lit, and $82,000 in edit. Obviously, we're making good progress on the Alvin Pond water line. They're pretty much almost all the way out to Castleton. Then they'll be coming back and switching over services and testing the line, cleaning the line, getting it ready for use. So there's still a lot of work to do, and you've probably seen crews around town switching out some of the valves and hydrants. Locust Street will continue to move south over the next several weeks. We have done some soil testing out at the Y site so we can see about getting going on dirt work again. We're just waiting for the report to come back from the soils engineer on that. Land and water conservation grant survey and design work continue. We have been, or the engineer's been focusing on putting a bid package together so that we can get moving forward on the restroom work. That'll be bid as a separate package from the other work. We should have a pretty good solid plan and profile, a route profile for the next level trails in the next couple of weeks. And as I mentioned earlier when Dave asked about lighting, just trying to get a call back from an electrical engineering firm to see if they're able to help us out. Streetlights have continued to make progress around the community. And I did send an email out, but for the benefit of the public, we did receive a grant, no match required, to inventory lead service lines. Now, for us, this is not a big problem because for years, we have been using a chemical in our water that basically lines the lines to prevent exposure to lead. And it's non-toxic and everything. It's a very small amount, but basically it coats the inside of our water lines and provides a protective layer. But after what happened in Flint, there's a national effort to go and inventory lead service lines, and at some point there probably will be a program and money available to replace these lines. Likely they'll show up in the older parts of town, so part of this grant will help us catalog information that we have on a variety of residences, and then we'll probably have to do some field work and stuff like that, but it's paid for entirely by the state. So, and there's a lot of communities doing this right now. The state wants to get ahead of this, so it's been a good advantage. And if we didn't get the grant, we were going to be responsible at some point in the next few years to do this anyway, so this just helps us move it forward quicker.
And less expensive, too.
What's that?
And at a lower cost to us.
Yeah. So, other than that, Linda?
Just a couple of things. So today, they're moving all of our information from our old accounting software over to our new accounting software, so we hope that goes good today and tomorrow. So we're not able to do a lot of work in the system today, but while that happens, I did want to comment, if you noticed how Greg was able to give a lot of detailed information about the park, they have a brand new system that allows them to keep really good records on how many people come in and out of the pool. People are, their season passes now are all fancy
Scannable.
barcode, scannable. The concessions items are all inventoried, so we can keep track on theft if there was problems with that, because they know exactly what's on hand at all times. So yeah, it's really exciting, the upgrades there. And then kind of the same type of program is going to be happening in Scott's department for code enforcement. It will be going live soon, that the general public can go online, they can file a complaint, and then to file a complaint, they do have to give their name and information, and then we follow up it. But there's a real nice paper trail, so they can go online at any time and see where it is in the process, whether it's been turned over to the police department, or Scott's handling it, or a violation's been issued, or all of that. So there's an upcoming on that. And then our fire inspections are all becoming automated. So there's a lot of automation going on. There's a lot of changes, and it's helping everybody's work be easier. So we're trying to get things moving along here. So I guess that's all I have.
Okay. I just want to verify the water line on Alban Pond Road is just going to Castleton. It's not going beyond Todson, the replacement?
I think it may go all the way out to Todson.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure where the tie-in with the rest of it is out there, but it's out in that general area.
Okay. I was thinking it was just Castleton, but
Yeah.
and then once this is all done, when will the sewer line extension to Todson be?
Well, that's still in engineering, but one of the things we're looking at is we have to do a force main from roughly Todson back to Castleton. So one of the things the engineer's looking at is actually using the old water line to snake the force main through, and then we don't have to, trench in a new force main. So that's being looked at.
Okay. Is that all part of, with the Sherwood lift station upgrade?
No, Sherwood will get started here shortly. Board of Works just selected the vendor on that, so we're in the process of getting all the paperwork and contracts signed and bonds secured and things.
Okay. The new fire hydrants you mentioned, are those the ones with plastic bags around them?
They might be.
Okay.
If they're not, it depends on where they are. If they're along the new water line, they may have a bag on them, but the old ones are still in service. Other parts of town, they just remove the old one, put the new one in, they should be in service.
Okay, because I'm seeing, since I live out there, that I'm seeing lots of new fire hydrants with plastic bags on them.
Yeah, that's because those are tied to the new line.
New line, and they
New
can't,
line isn't in
they're
service.
dry right now. Okay. And then Locust Street, so, I mean, this is a real mess here. I mean, mess all over town, but hey, progress. So what, of the infrastructure below grade, what all is being done there as far as water sewer lines and stuff like that?
We got new gas lines. Part of the water line out here is being abandoned because it's not needed anymore. But the rest of it is staying in place. Sewer is in good shape, so it's staying in place. All new storm sewer lines. And then hopefully if Frontier shows up, their stuff is going to go away as well.
Storm sewer's been a big issue here in this area.
Was there a storm sewer already on South Locust, or was it?
Well, kind of, yeah.
It's really old.
There's some open trench up there by Seminary. And then there is about an 18-inch line that comes down both sides. Some of it's old clay tile, and it's very shallow. In fact, if it rains really hard, it geysers up out of the tree lawns. Some of it's corrugated metal that's not in very good shape, and then it comes across the street here. So it's all being put in with new concrete pipe and stuff. So part of our work for Locust Street is also in preparation for the work on 231 that'll be done next year. So some of that storm sewer will feed into the work that's been completed over here.
The state will be doing.
So all of this is tied in, and the reason Franklin Street is torn up because the line does an L at the corner here, runs west on Franklin, and then north through the city property next to the yellow house, and then discharges out there.
Down the old Spring Street extension or whatever. Okay. So the sewer line's in good shape, water line, how old are these lines?
It's an older one, but it's still in good shape.
Water line as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Just hate to see if we have to start digging up a new street.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But I was hoping that we were getting some...
And they'll check on it as we go along to, see if we've got any issues that need attention.
Okay, I think that's all I have.
What's the prognostication on getting this fixed totally?
I don't have a
Okay.
date yet. Depending on how far they get tomorrow, they may start pouring some concrete. I didn't ask them
They
today.
work on Friday?
Oh yeah, they work.
They've been excellent.
This has been a good crew. I mean, literally, last week on Friday, they were pouring concrete late in the afternoon and had it finished up by the time they left. So.
They don't have any.
I'm sorry, did we have another water main leak on Old Pond Road?
Yes,
on
we
Sunday?
did. We've had 4 since we've gotten the grant.
Yeah.
3 or 4, I think 4.
This was just like, when I came back in town, it's like, oh my gosh, there was no way that crew's out here working on Sunday. It had to be a water main
Sunday
break.
morning, I got a call and called Oscar, and he said they're already on it, so.
And then we're going to abandon the line in the next few weeks. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I forgot about that.
I don't really have a lot to report. I did want to say I spent some time kind of strolling around downtown, looking at some things, and so some of the businesses, some of the vacant businesses, it seems like we've had trash, leaves, and things collect there, and so nobody's going there, and I don't know if the building owners are going there or whatever, and so a week or two ago, two of the businesses probably had, I don't know, 3 Octobers worth of leaves piled in them. So I wheeled a big old trash can and a shovel and a broom and went down there and scooped them all up. And so I don't, not saying anything. I mean, it just needed to be done. But I think that's definitely something that we probably want to maybe turn the screws on for some of those businesses down there, some of the buildings that are just there, because they seem to be collecting old cups and bottle caps and
Leaves.
Trash can full of leaves. I literally filled a trash can with leaves, after doing that. So that's just something to keep an eye on.
Thanks for cleaning it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's not.
That wasn't the point.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just think that's something we, got to keep an eye out for.
So we could help figure out who the property owner is and help Main Street get in contact with them.
Okay.
Where are we on getting the downtown? We've not had one for a while.
If I could find somebody we've only had 2 applicants, and the first guy took another position. So
Second one?
still working on it.
Okay.
I mean, and we've actually advertised it 2 different times.
Yeah, I know. We had a good one before, but, it was, it's a real shame that we can't get somebody,
So does that position kind of tie into some of those things?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right.
It's really designed for the public space, not maintenance on private property.
Okay. All right.
I said one reminder, Kinetic Change 5K is this Saturday. They're going to have good weather, 5 o'clock. Hopefully the community will turn out. The city always benefits from, they make donations and out to Big Walnut and all that type of thing. So hopefully they'll have great attendance. Folks listening, if you want to participate, I would say reach out to City Hall, reach out to Julie Carr. We'll get you connected. It is this Saturday.
10th annual.
Is it 10? I couldn't remember if it was 10 or 11. Yeah. Okay.
We've got actually 2 this coming weekend. One on Saturday, Julie Carr's, and then the other one with Tony Kanaan on Sunday.
That's right. That one is Sunday. Yeah. Hopefully a good turnout for that one, too. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a rainy day. We need the rain.
I know. I saw that. Yeah.
Nothing to report.
I want to thank the council for letting me be your representative on the board of the Putnam County Community Foundation. I'm really enjoying it, and I think in a small way with my financial aid background scholarship, I think I've been able to make a small contribution to that. Having said that, the last monthly board meeting, more than one person on the foundation board expressed some pretty serious disappointment that they've given the largest grant ever to the YMCA, and we haven't been doing any fundraising. And I tried to explain to them that we can't go out and raise funds until we have signed agreements. And so I'm asking for an update, because obviously I'm going to have to report back to them. I said, I think we're close, but we've said that for several months now that we're close. So what's the latest on the contract between the hospital and the city, and the joint operating agreement between the Y and the hospital?
I spoke with Dennis Rutherford last week and passed on the desires of the Redevelopment Commission. I tried calling this afternoon to get an update for this meeting, and we weren't able to connect, so I'll be on the phone to him again tomorrow morning. But basically, the Redevelopment Commission, after evaluating several options in terms of term of agreement, they decided to go back to the original 20 years rather than extend it to 30 and let our successors, in good faith, negotiate a new term and rate and anything else that would need to be addressed at the end of that 20-year term.
I was out of town, so I couldn't attend that meeting, but I'm personally very pleased that we didn't go to 30 years. I sat across from Ryan Penrod at Tuesday's annual meeting of the Putnam County Community Foundation Board, and he made reference to Dennis Weatherford, from the hospital's point of view, promising a decision by this coming Monday, the 12th. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. Lori?
Part of that's dependent upon, they have to operate like we do as a public entity in terms of providing notice and things like that, so that may float a little bit depending on when they can get their board together. But we told them the goal is to try to get everything signed by the redevelopment commission at the end of this month.
Lori, can you comment on the contracts, those two contracts? I know the one between the Y and the city's been done for quite some time now. Do you know what the status is of the other two?
That's exactly what Bill just said. We're just working on that one provision, and as soon as we get a decision about that, as soon as we can work out some language that we both agree on, then I think it should be ready to go. That's it. It's just one provision.
And we've made Ryan aware of the fact that, and so he's working with his board to get everything lined up so that it can be signed at the end of the month as well. There's not really any issue there, just alerting him to the calendar.
Now, theirs has been approved by their board, so.
He mentioned, over lunch, he mentioned that he's trying to keep his board engaged on this because it's been a long time since they approved their contract, and so I'm glad to hear we're close. Hopefully it will happen soon.
And congratulations to Sue for the philanthropy award.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you. She hates it. She does not like to be in the public eye, but
She doesn't.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Next on the agenda is our public hearing for Crown Equipment Corporation, request for tax abatement. So Kristen distributed information to council for our packet, so I'll let her come up and make the introduction.
Good evening. So this is the second in a process of two meetings for approval of tax abatement. First one was the declaratory. We declared it an economic revitalization area. Tonight is the confirmatory, where we're actually passing abatement. So again, we have Scott Spear, who is the Director of Manufacturing for Crown, and we have Allison Hendrick, who is their HR Manager at the local plant, with us if you have any questions for them. I believe I have spoken with most of you and have discussed this project, and that would include that they are requesting tax abatement on $15 million for the SB1, the amended SB1 for real property, and $40 million on the original SB1 for personal property. So Mayor Dory and I are working with the assessor's office to ensure that values in the county have been underassessed or wrongly assessed for a number of years for a variety of reasons, and that really impacts industrial. So we're working closely with the assessor's office to ensure that, one, the property is going to be assessed properly, and that we're going to be able to capture all the improvements that Crown has made to that property. So for personal property, pretty simple. It's self-reporting. They're asking for $40 million, and they're asking for $40 million. They reported on their personal property tax returns that they submit to the assessor's office in the spring. And we're requesting a 10-year traditional abatement for that, 190, 80, 70, 60, and so on. For the real property, just a little bit different. They're going to be putting in about $15 million in shoring up that facility. It's been there for 35 years. And it's been through the ringer, and it's been there a long time. They're going to put on a new roof. They're going to put a new HVAC system in, a lot of new electricity and electric work, and so that's going to extend the life of the facility, which is a great thing. So that's going to allow the assessor then to readjust that assessed value. So if we remember correctly, about 2013, maybe even earlier than that, they tried to go to fair market value for assessed value as opposed to the antiquated system they used before. So we're talking about getting closer to fair market value with that assessment. So tonight, for public hearing, we're just asking that, if anybody has anything to say, but for that real property tax abatement, We've looked at it, and I am asking that you consider giving 100% abatement for the first 3 years. And that will allow them to make some of that investment and recoup some of that investment right away, and then continue on that traditional tax abatement starting year 4. That would be 65%. It gets a little bit different than 60, 50, 40, 30. It's just 65, then 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 5. So that would be a savings to the company over the life of the abatement of $75,000. I said 85, but it's $75,000, and that will allow them to shore up and drive that back into their training costs. They're onboarding 200 new employees. They're going to have multiple training costs, and so that is where we're going to do that. We're going to ask. We have done that in the past. In 2018, Chiyoda requested the same thing. We awarded Chiyoda, and then they had to report back during the compliance phase of tax abatement what their training costs were going for. We would request the same thing out of Crown, that over the next 3 years they would share with us what that savings would be utilized for on their operating sheet. So that is our request to you this evening, and if you would please consider it, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Or Scott and Allison would also be happy to answer.
If there's not any further discussion, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Well, we actually have to ask the public if there's any comments officially. But seeing none.
Eric?
Seeing none, we'll entertain that motion.
Thanks for pointing back to the precedent that this has been done before.
Okay, sure.
So,
Is the fact that we're asking for 100% for 3 years going to be something that's going to come back at us at a future date? And since the traditional way is not 100%, whatever.
Kristen already has.
We've already done that once
Okay.
We've done it before. And
for training, when there's a training need.
exactly. So exactly, every tax abatement is unique, and you can confirm or deny. Confirm any way you see fit, but in this specific instance, we certainly know that there's going to be a curve on the training costs, and so that's what we're tying that to. There is a concept out there where you can go to redevelopment to get training dollars and go through those hoops, and instead this just cleans things up. It's an easier way to handle it, and so that's kind of how we handle that through the tax abatement process.
Will you be also seeking state, like edge credits and those sorts of retraining dollars too?
So I can address that. I don't think they've been in other conversations, but yes. So with the state, they have gone back and forth. The state was originally going to offer some credits, and because of the investment that they're making and with the amount of employees that they're onboarding, they're going to be getting some funding right up front. So it was going to be maybe $800,000 with credits, and now they're going to be going maybe $600, but it's money up front so they can drive that back into the project as well. Eric, please don't quote me on those numbers, but it's going to be maybe less, but up front, so that the state's stepping up greatly and working with them. State awards state incentives based on job creation usually, as well as capital investment, but mainly job creation. So, and then there is a clawback if they don't create the jobs. And
we're fortunate that now, sometimes the state doesn't step up, and in this case they are. So,
Okay.
and in part that's also because we've made it. We're going to step up as well, because they do look at the local commitment also as part of the process. But in some instances, expansions may qualify. In other instances, they may not. So, we always encourage the company, and Kristen makes sure that the company talks to the state, but sometimes they don't come to the table.
state policy is they want to see it be competitive outside of the state of Indiana in order to incentivize. And with Crown, they made that case. They're based in Ohio, and they've been looking at there to expand, as well as they just did a large expansion, as well as they were considering a large expansion in North Carolina, and that one might go through as well, but because it's a competitive analysis, then that helps us in our presentation to the state, and that's exactly what Crown did. So they were successful in doing that. There's been a letter submitted, so they've been offered incentives, and they're working at that at the New Bremen facility at the higher up level. So, yeah.
Okay, that kind of led to my next question was, last month when we were talking, it was like, well, we're in competition with an Ohio location, North Carolina location. is this now, are we definitely, is this a definite that they're going to, as long as all this falls in place?
We're at the point where we're committed, given the last few steps that we need to take with the city council as well as with working with the property owners.
Okay, great.
When you pass tax abatement, there's nothing requiring Indiana code or in the resolution that requires them to move forward with the abatement, but if they do move forward with the investment, then we do abate. In this situation, I think Scott mentioned it last time, but I mean, they'd like to be, 8 weeks turnaround, and right now they're 18 months? I don't know how long, but so I think they're shoring up all their facilities in order to do that, but they certainly are going to make the investment, the potential investment here in Greencastle, so.
How many employees does Crown have in Ohio at the plant there?
Well, I would say, don't quote me on this, I think we're between 3,500 to 4,000 in the Ohio area.
And here we will have, once you expand?
We have roughly 860 today. We're committing to 200 additional jobs for more than 1,000. But this is, again, just one location in the state of Indiana as well. We're also in Newcastle, Indiana, and that, I think we're at 350 in Newcastle, Indiana. We also have our branches, sales branches in Indianapolis and several other communities.
We're still in the public hearing, are we?
You made a motion to close, and
I
we haven't
did.
had a second yet.
Oh, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please signify your consent to close the public hearing.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I'll step away.
Yeah.
Come back and,
We have claims.
minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, minutes. We have just the minutes from May 11th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 11th as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
One abstention.
Okay. Next, we have claims. Dave, do you have the claims for us?
I do. We had a payroll of $541,246.43. There was 2 regular payrolls and then a years of service payroll as well, a third payroll. Linda,
For our so we're having, which you all were invited to, we're having employee recognition. And if you all remember back when we did the salary ordinance last year in the budget, you guys gave us a little bit of extra money to have a employee recognition event. So that's what we're having tomorrow. And so we have checks for those that have had years of service in the city. So kind of a little extra tomorrow, recognizing our city employees. And just comment, we do have one employee that has been here working for the city of Greencastle for 56 years.
whoa. Have they hit 100 years old yet then?
No, they have not, but I think they did start with us at a pretty young age.
Anything else to do?
I would guess. Well, that's
The
the,
next employee is 45 years, so we've got some,
Some longevity. Good. Wow. What time's the event tomorrow start?
12:15. 12:15.
that's the payroll. Pensions totaling $18,508.98. Then we've got some interesting claims. This is direct payables. Align Civil Engineering, 5 different invoices totaling $13,698.25. That's for Indianapolis Road sidewalks, Campus Link Trail, 2 of the invoices for Roban Park Phase 2, and the last one for Jackson Street sidewalks. We have Republic, typically, $42,736.25. Then we have 25 checks for $9,750. And when I first saw this, I thought, and then I started adding it up, and it came back to me. COVID supplemental funding, Phase 3, 25 small businesses are involved, and I'll just read the list here. let's see, SAW, S&W Feed Center, All-American Karate, Almost Home, Wilson's Photography, Horizon Business Center, Putnam Inn, Becky, is it Hunzinger? Massage Therapy, Case Chiropractic, Elite Cheer and Dance, Greencastle Inn, Greencastle Music Center, Jackson Street Marathon, Kirsch Family Dentistry, College Inn Motel, 9 East on Poplar, Tap House Burgers, Stafford and Cummings, Namaste, Moore's Bar, Mona USA Spa and Salon, LIA LLC, K. Sly Daycare, Greencastle Mini Mart, Bridges Wine Bar, and Ashley Square Cinema. So the total for all the direct payables is $340,221.98. The common claims, we've got Align Civil Engineering again for $17,300, and that's for April engineering services. We have $4,000 for decals for the new police cars. We have $4,071.56 for ammunition for the police department. Marcy's Tree Service at $3,100 for trees and stumps they took off along Veterans Memorial Highway. A big one, the biggest one of all of them, is the Old National Bank bond for the park at $51,450 of both principal and interest. And the last one that I'll mention is Spear Corporation, chemicals for the pool and splash park, and a new lifeguard seat. And with that, I'll move that the claims be affirmed.
Scott, that Spear Corporation has nothing to do with you, right?
By the way, the total on that was $136,660.42 on the common claims.
I would move for, is that a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks.
A motion and a second to approve claims as submitted. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. We have no old business. New business, the first item of new business is Resolution 2023-7, a resolution reaffirming Resolution 2023-6 and declaring an economic revitalization area and recommended tax deduction. Whereas the laws of the state of Indiana, specifically IC 6-1.1-12.1-1, provide for the creation of economic revitalization areas within the corporate limits of the city of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, for the general purpose of providing property tax deductions to encourage private redevelopment of areas which have become undesirable for or impossible of normal development and occupancy because of a lack of development, cessation of growth, deterioration of improvements, or character of occupancy, age, obsolescence, substandard buildings, or other factors which have impaired values or prevent normal development of property or use of property. And whereas the term economic revitalization area also includes any area where a facility or group of facilities that are technologically, economically, or energy obsolete are located, and whereas the obsolescence may lead to the decline in employment and tax revenue, whereas redevelopment means the construction of new structures in economic revitalization areas, either on unimproved real estate or on real estate upon which prior existing structure was demolished to allow for new construction. And whereas rehabilitation means remodeling, repair, or betterment of property in any manner or any enlargement or extension of property, whereas pursuant to applicable laws of the state of Indiana, the Common Council of the City of Greencastle may create said economic revitalization area through the adoption of a resolution. And whereas the need exists to establish an economic revitalization area in order to encourage private redevelopment in the City of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, and whereas Crown Equipment Corporation has planned the economic revitalization of their operations by expanding their operations into a 430,000 square foot existing facility at an estimated investment of, I think that should be amended to 15 million.
Please do so.
and investing up to $40 million in new manufacturing equipment to support additional operations, resulting in the retention of 860 jobs and the creation of 200 new jobs at their facilities. Crown Equipment Corporation seeks a tax deduction pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1. And whereas a statement of benefits forms SB1RE and SB1PP, said forms approved by the Department of Local Government Finance have been submitted to the Common Council on May 11th, 2023, prior to the start of proper renovation and the installation of new manufacturing equipment on such real estate by Crown Equipment Corporation, and that such statement of benefits are attached hereto and marked Exhibit A and Exhibit B. And whereas the Common Council of the City of Greencastle passed Resolution 2023-6 on May 11, 2023, and advertised for public hearing on June 8, 2023, and whereas the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, pursuant to the laws of the State of Indiana, does now hereby find that 1, the estimate of the value of new manufacturing equipment is reasonable for projects of that nature. 2, the estimate of the number of individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained can be reasonably expected to result from the proposed described installation of new manufacturing equipment. The estimate of the annual salaries of those individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed described redevelopment or rehabilitation and installation of new manufacturing equipment. 4, that any other benefits about which information was requested are benefits that can be reasonably expected to result from the described redevelopment or rehabilitation and installation of new manufacturing equipment. The totality of the benefits is sufficient to justify a deduction. Therefore, based upon these findings, be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Greencastle on this 8th day of June, 2023, pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-1, deems there to be a need to establish an economic revitalization area, and that said economic revitalization area shall be defined as follows. And what follows is the legal description for the property commonly known as 750 South Fillmore Road. Therefore, the Common Council of the City of Greencastle does recommend a deduction of assessed value for a period of 10 years as a result of the renovation of the facility currently owned by EPM Greencastle LLC and located at 750 Fillmore Road as set forth in IC 6-1.1-12.1-3. Following abatement schedule applies to the eligible real property improvements that are part of the expansion project outlined in this resolution. Year 1, 100%, Year 2, 100%, Year 3, 100%, Year 4, 65%, Year 5, 50%, Year 6, 40%, Year 7, 30%, Year 8, 20%, Year 9, 10%, Year 10, 5%, Year 11 and beyond, 0%. Therefore, the Greencastle Common Council does recommend a deduction of assessed value for a period of 10 years as a result of the installation of new manufacturing equipment as set forth in IC 6-1.1-12.1-4.5. The following abatement schedule applies to the eligible personal property that are part of the expansion project outlined in this resolution. Year 1 starting at 100% and then decreasing by 10% through Year 10, Year 11 and beyond 0%. The Common Council of the City of Greencastle does not recommend a deduction or tax abatement for special tooling, nor does Crown Equipment Corporation request such abatement. Common Council of the City of Greencastle further recommends and approves the application of the deductions herein for improvements in equipment installed pursuant to the Statement of Benefits and the approval of this resolution and during the 60 months, June 2023 through May 2028. Passed and resolved by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle at its regular meeting this 8th day of June 2023 with appropriate signature lines. Further questions or discussion?
What is special tooling?
It is like molds and certain jigs and fixtures. And under state statute, it's taxed at 30% the first year and then 3% every year after that. So it kind of, by statute, does not have a lot of value for tax purposes, but in some cases, like particularly with our injection molding companies, even at 3%, the value can be substantial because the molds can be fairly expensive.
I think Crown has been a great addition to the community. We had a meeting at Ivy Tech with the advisory board there. The mayor was there, and he made the comment without naming you, and I asked him to tell me exactly who he thought it was, and it was a comment that Crown is taking more advantage of Ivy Tech and Area 30 and the things that the Development Center has to offer. So I tip my hat to you on that. I assume Crown is doing well financially. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to approve this resolution, but I do want to say one of the things we look at all the time is what kind of financial contribution is a company making, $100,000 went into the tennis courts in Roban Park. Kristen has provided us with a list of past, present, and future community projects and donations, and the number listed in the future has gone down, not up. And so I ask you to take a message back to Ohio or wherever you need to take it that we would like to see additional investment in the community. We're going to let you abate, millions of dollars over time? We'd like to have you return a little bit of that to key things that are going on in this community. With that, I'll move that we approve resolution number 2023-7.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, council members.
We will be hearing, I think, there'll be a public announcement of a major contribution at the appropriate time for a certain project that's underway in the community.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Okay, here's a signature.
Hand it back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just for me.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a resolution 2023-8, and this is a resolution replacing, I assume that's resolution 2022-5, authorizing the use of credit cards for city officials, whereas various departments within the city of Greencastle make expenditures such as purchasing gasoline, office supplies, and other operating goods and supplies from numerous vendors. Whereas the use of credit cards from one company would reduce the time currently required to process claims to the numerous vendors, freeing City Hall officials to carry out other official duties and expediting the claims process. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Greencastle authorizes the use of credit cards as follows. 1, city-approved credit cards may be used to make the following expenditures: office supplies, goods and supplies necessary for the operation of the department, gasoline and automotive supplies and repairs, training expenses, travel expenses, other work-related expenses. No other uses are approved. 2, a list of authorized cardholders and limits is attached in Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein. All employees must comply with all city policies regarding credit card usage. The authorized cardholders may delegate his or her duties and allow a member of his or her department to make purchases with the credit card. However, the official shall not be responsible for the actions of his or her employee. The employee must return the card to the official immediately after the employee has made the assigned purchase. This resolution replaces 2022-5 in its entirety, passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, this 8th day of June 2023 with appropriate signature lines, and then it attaches Exhibit A with limitations and the department heads and assistant department heads that have access to our credit cards. So this is kind of a formality. Linda, do you need to add anything to this?
Yes, I need to add, in your packet, it showed a vacancy in DPW. We need to add David Grimes to that because he is the assistant superintendent, which I have done on that resolution. Basically, we've just changed some department heads and added some, so this is just you giving them permission to hold credit cards. It's kind of a formality that we need to do for the state.
I just had one question, and that is on the list. It says DPW is vacant.
Yeah, I'm David Grimes.
Well, but Andrew Rogers is in charge of the department, right?
Correct. David Grimes gets, he's the assistant, so most departments, their assistant gets a credit card also.
My question is on Andrew's limit. Why is he not at $3,000 like the other department heads?
Because they hardly ever use it.
I see.
We're
Okay.
only allowed a credit limit of $34,500.
Okay.
And they so seldom use it. In fact, a couple times I've had to tell them you got to use it at least once a year or they'll
Okay.
cancel on you. So. Anyway.
Also, I wanted, Bill misspoke, I think. It said the official shall be responsible for the actions
Oh,
of
I'm
his or
sorry.
her employee.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, the city attorney perked up over here.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, the other thing that occasionally happens is, we don't pay sales tax, but sometimes some of us have to pick up the sales tax because, if we've forgotten our sales tax form or something.
So here's the...
So I'll entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-8. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Last item of business is Ordinance 2023-3, an ordinance amending Ordinance 2022-7, an ordinance establishing the size of the departments of city government of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for the employees of such departments and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2023. Section 9, that the utility department shall consist of 19 full-time members and 2 part-time members and 1 utility summer intern. Utility department, we're adding what's called a WT4 operator at an hourly rate of $30 per hour. All other terms and conditions contained in Ordinance 2022-7 shall remain in full force and effect. Passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, this blank day of blank, 2023, with appropriate signature lines. So, Oscar, do you have any comments that...
What does a WT4 operator do?
Oscar? Come on up. We, to operate our plant, we do require a little higher level that Oscar will get into and why we're making this move.
We're required to have WT5 operators to operate the water plant. The guy that we're wanting to hire is a WT4 operator, but he's qualified to test for a 5. So we were wanting to start him a little bit lower. Then once he gets the WT5 test passed, then move him up to the regular pay.
Okay.
How much difference is that?
$3 and something, I'm not sure.
$3.50.
Okay,
Yeah.
so about 10% more.
But we just didn't have WT4 on the list, so we had to add it because
Right, 'cause
otherwise we
never had-
wouldn't be.
We used to, that's what we used to use, and then we had to go to the WT5 several years ago.
It's a real nightmare to try to fill these positions, and
Yeah.
we've had the ad out for a WT5 operator for 2 months now. This is the only guy that's interested so far. And we've been looking for regular operators for almost 3 months now. And we still have 2 or 3 positions open.
It's a
Isn't
great
the test-
profession.
The test is
Yes.
really hard, isn't it? If memory serves me, didn't we have trouble getting people to pass the WT5
Oh, yeah.
test
Yes.
years ago? And yeah.
And they've got a great study team down there. I mean, the conference room at the water plant looks like a classroom. There's study materials all over because, by statute, we have to have these WT5s, so we're trying to And really, both our employees have to have several certifications in our water service and in our wastewater service, so they do a good job of working together to study, and we fortunately have one of our operators has the ability to teach classes and things like that, so it looks like study hall down there at any given time.
A lot of chemistry and
Yeah.
calculations.
We're fortunate we've got some good people working for us on both the water and wastewater side. And, they have to be on the ball. What is it, Oscar? We can't operate our water plant unless we have
Yeah,
somebody
there
on
has to be
site.
somebody there the full 12 hours.
And we're fortunate the wastewater plant is set up that we can operate that remotely, but still, you have to be qualified to know what's going on and make sure nothing goes haywire.
If there isn't any further discussion, I move that we approve ordinance 2023-3. Is it on first reading?
This is first reading, yes.
On first reading.
I guess my only question would be is, how soon would he be able to start? I mean, do we have to wait another month to pass this on second reading?
He's qualified now.
To do it now. Could you
File a
file it to do it?
Do we go ahead and do it?
Make the
first
motion
reading
to
and then
waive
do the
the-
second reading right
Yeah.
after?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
That was-
You going to second it?
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-3 on first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, if we need a motion
Motion
to...
to suspend the rules
Suspend.
to have a second reading of the same ordinance on the same night.
I would make the motion to suspend the rules and have the reading, second reading on the same motion on the same night.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading on the same meeting night. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-3, and that can be by title only, an ordinance amending ordinance 2022-7, an ordinance establishing the size of the departments of city government of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for the employees of such departments, and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2023.
The title's about half of the I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2023-3 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2023-3 on second reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions?
Thank you. You're welcome.
That's great.
Okay, here's a signature copy for that. And that concludes our business of the evening. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Second. A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.